The assassins would have you believe that Al-Mualim was a great mentor who became corrupted with greed, and that he schemed with the Templars to acquire an apple of Eden. I see instead a shrewd and cunning leader, a man who used his best assassin, Altair ibn Lahad, to eliminate his conspirators in order to keep the apple for himself, so that he could use it to enforce world peace. His vision of peace was more in line with Templar philosophy than assassin. In the past, both sides had the same goal, that of peace. Our only difference was how we chose to achieve it.
Hey guys, this is Media Sally, and today we're going to be talking about Ubisoft and the whole Assassin's Creed thing, because I've been playing the games and kind of got sucked into it, and I was reminiscing on the quality they used to have and how they don't have that no more, and how I kind of stopped playing after maybe Syndicate. I don't know, Syndicate felt like plastic to some extent. I think the last good one maybe was 4, Black Flag, and after that, I don't know. Assassin's Creed used to be good at one point. When it started, it was a fresh assassination simulator stemming from the Prince of Persia games. Assassins started off offering great historically tied narratives that told really good stories in fun ways, then slowly turned into garbage with the passing of Time's Arrow. So let's break it down. When it started, the basic designs of Assassin's Creed were based around the 3 pillars of stealth, combat, and parkour. Using these mechanics along with a detailed open world game, Ubisoft would string along the player through very fun story missions, piecing together interesting story beats and events in order to tell a narrative that would tie historical fantasy, personal narrative, and some level of science fiction. The narratives themselves also told the big arching story of Templars versus Assassin, the 2 main factions and opposing sides of the games. Philosophically opposed at a fundamental level, assassins generally stand for liberation, freedom, and the elimination of corruption. The Templars, as their counterpoints, believe in control that usually shows itself as political control, under-the-table dealings, and what I would generally describe as Illuminati vibes, using strategic positions of power to control the people. Basically, control versus freedom. To put it in simple terms, Templars wish to corrupt for the sake of control, while Assassins wish to stop corruption for the sake of freedom. An interesting question to place as the main engine for your video game story. So now let me ask, who do you guys think is the good guy in this situation? The Assassins or the Templars? Clearly, freedom always leads to control, and control leads to freedom, 2 ends of the same coin. But Ubisoft would be a studio consumed by the conflicts themselves, a conflict that they would describe in their games, maybe foreshadowing some of the failure they faced in the real world. Up to the point of Syndicate, the series was fine. Not fine in the sense that Syndicate was a buggy, watered down, rush mess, but fine for the most part in the sense that it followed the core creed and the beliefs of the series. Assassin's Creed, as bloated and watered down as it was, the core gameplay elements still reflected the historical theme. The parkour was watered down due to the tall buildings and zipline mechanics. They ended up streamlining most of the parkour. The combat, like I said, felt like plastic, but still used that counter-based system of the originals, and the stealth for the most part was okay. Syndicate is an interesting game as it was placed after Unity. This is where they attempted the most ambitious advancements to the series, completely reworking the parkour, which is arguably the best part of the series, though sadly for Ubisoft they couldn't achieve their vision due to more Templar corruption. Because they didn't want to miss out on the potential past generation sales, they decided to split their attention between Unity and Rogue. Rogue was basically a ripoff of the Black Flag system and reused story elements from past games to create its own narrative. They used the selling point of playing as a Templar, meaning that they basically reskinned the assassin faction as the bad guys, and they did this in the most boring and intellectually lazy way possible by just recoloring them and saying that the ideology applies different. They just changed the names. The story was super short and only acted to offer past generation consoles a lazy Assassin's Creed game that was forgotten by time. By doing so, they ensured that there was a split in the market and they were giving 2 half-baked products instead of a fully cooked meal. Unity, while still innovating and supposedly being the way forward, was an unholy buggy mess that became a meme due to its uncooked nature. Once again, Ubisoft's Templar ways interfere with the proper advancement of the series. Unity is an important game for our timeline. You could argue Unity was supposed to be the way forward before Origins changed the course. I understand how Ubisoft took the failure of Unity as a sign to scrap the whole direction, but seeing as we are now, I can tell you that this was probably a mistake. The reason Syndicate felt like plastic but was still an Assassin's Creed game was because it was a course correction from Unity's advancements. Along with that, I want to say that Syndicate was a fake game. By the time it came out, Ubisoft had already been pumping out Assassin's Creed as a yearly release. They started to trade art for content as one was more financially lucrative. Yearly releases were an early sign of the Templar ideology infecting them. So Unity failed because it was on buggy and on rush and had to split direction between Rogue. But Syndicate was a backpedal to the old format before finally cutting that format off, taking 2 years before creating Origins. The boat that would carry Ubisoft's increasingly growing Templar tendencies. So this meant including hitboxes and more RPG elements to better control player experiences and implement monetizing techniques. Origins couldn't fail like Unity as it was the new future of the series, shifting away from the Assassin's Creed model and more into Templar territory, if you know what I mean. Origins was a good game, but no longer an Assassin's Creed game. This was the definitive best Templar Creed game, if you will, and the game Rogue was supposed to be. They no longer engaged with historical facts but mythological legends. So to try to put that into context, Assassin's Creed 3 was a lead up in a good game, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the end of the golden era, if you will. They offered the best story, or one of the best stories, and one of the best vibes in the series, and up to that point everything was cool. Everything after that is dumb, and it's like boiling water, getting hotter for the frog to die slowly. And I want to argue that no, they're not good. If you think that the newer games are good, you're experiencing the time sunk fallacy. From Origins onward, they no longer followed the creed. The basic philosophy changed to Templar design, meaning that the games are made for control, not freedom, for money, not fun, and for content, not art. Over time, Ubisoft was corrupted by the Templar ideology, and now it's only fitting that the gamers representing the assassins have voted with their wallet and eliminated the corruption in the gaming industry. The assassination of Ubisoft is sad, but the things we love eventually do end up dying, and that's okay. I was playing the old games and still managed to have a good time because those old games still exist, up to the point of Black Flag, the last good game, and Syndicate, the last bad Assassin's Creed game. Unity was the buggy attempt at a next-gen upgrade. Black Flag had one of the best narratives and pirate simulators, and the Ezio trilogy had the best central character narrative. Assassin's Creed is a great series with a wide range of gameplay mechanics and historically based narratives. As Ubisoft's identity began to align with those of the enemy faction, their greedy and desire for power destroyed what once made Assassin's Creed one of gaming's mainstays. And if you like Origins, you can suck. Hey, that's the video. If you like what you heard, I don't know, maybe drop a subscribe, maybe drop a like, and support the channel. Working hard.